name's Rick, and Nolan, my son and I, are going to teach you how to fix spine roll on a comic book. So this is Amazing Spider-Man number 71, and this is from, it's a Silver Age book, I believe. I think it's 1969. This is 1969, so it's that age of paper. And so what we're looking at, the problem we're looking at here, this is a good copy of a book. So this has the staples along the spine, and the pages are squared up in the back. Okay, that's what we're trying to get to. And this book needs to have spine roll fixed. So this one has, the pages are not lined up in the back. It's the same book. And the staples are on the front of the book here. So the first thing we're going to do is flatten the book out. And to do that without creating, this has plenty of spine creases anyway, so we're not really that worried about it. We're going to first use a steamer. Come over here, Nolan.
Okay.
This is the Pure Steam, world's best steamer here. We're going to take this.
Wait, really?
I don't know. But we're going to, it just says that. But, and then we're going to set up our press. So the first thing we're going to do is steam this because we don't want it to get a crack along the cover. And we're going to steam it on both sides.
What's it called? Because maybe this is people's first comic books and they don't know what that is called.
This is a steamer and this is a heating press.
Heating press?
Laminating press. So we're going to, we're steaming the book here until the pages get wrinkly.
See that steamy?
Yep, it's super steamy. I know you like that. And then it's going to relax. So it's got its own kind of a little bend in it. And when you know it's accepted enough steam, it just relaxes a little bit. It kind of hangs on its own a little better. And you don't really penetrate all the center pages so much. So we're going to put a little bit this way and a little bit this way. And you could immediately, we're going to try to fix it in one step. But there's a two-step method too. Oh, maybe I'll just show the two-step method first.
Okay.
There we go. That's lots of steam. You need a lot for this operation. And then we're going to press it flat. So we're going to take our press. Now on our press we have a sheet of 32nd inch aluminum.
Aluminum?
Yep, this is aluminum. We've got it made at onlinemetals.com.
Okay.
So it's been preheated to 165. And we're going to put a Teflon sheet on the bottom of it. And we're going to put
Teflon?
the book here to flatten the book out completely.
Sheet?
So this one isn't quite as wide as the whole book, which we would like, but it doesn't matter. We're just going to use it to flatten the book. So we push the book flat, and then we put another Teflon sheet on top of it, keep it from sticking, and then we put a board on top of that, and then we press with our hand until we see that the book is indeed flat, right? And then we should see the edges of the book will get a little bit closer. See that? Can you show that? And then we're going to press it, get our press here. Down. So show my timer.
Okay.
Here, we let the temperature soak in. It says 10 seconds right now, so we're going to let this go for 60 seconds.
1 minute.
Yep. And we're going to go set. Whoops, well, that's close enough. Then we're going to go start, and then we're going to give it a minute, and then we're going to pull this out. So that's done, and I'm going to set this back to less time now.
That looks like more time.
Whoops, sorry. I'm going the wrong way. Sorry.
I think that 100 is a little bit more
So I
than
turn
60.
that off, and while it's still hot, I'm taking the book out. I want it to be warm for this next step. So I push here. The book should be pretty flat now. Just a minute. It doesn't take long for this part of the operation because there's more coming. Then you pull the book off and see how flat it is. Look how flat this book looks. See?
Nice.
Yeah. So that's really flat, right? It's much flatter than it was. We could leave it on longer, but that's all that's necessary, and we want it to be warm for this step. Then we take a new backing board and we put it right on the staples here.
Backing board?
Yep.
Okay.
We put it on the staples. And then what we're going to do is we're going to force the book to be flat. So we're going to take the, now it's flexible. The pages look a little rough. They look like they're wrinkled, but that's okay. They're just damp. And then what we're going to do is force the pages straight. So they're not quite straight. I'm going to pinch this. Watch what I do. I pinch with my fingers. I don't wear the cotton gloves for this part. And you got to be really careful that you don't tear the cover off. This is why you need the backing board in there, because you pinch the backing board technically. And then once you get it squared up the way you want, you hold it with your other two fingers, and then you pinch the other side. You're really pinching the backing board, not the book, and you kind of force it around like this. You see that? So now when it gets there, I'm going to hold it with my fingers. That's the trick, is that I hold it. I don't let it move at all. And you want it to be just slightly damp still from the previous operation. And I want the side up that I'm looking at. So this is fanned from the back, so I want looking at the back. So now what I'm going to do is put it in here. And then I'm going to put this book, some of it's sticking out because I have to hold my fingers here. Right? And whoops, I'm going to put the Teflon first, just in case the backing board sticks to it. I'm going to push this down. Then I'm going to, because I need to keep my fingers somewhat safe and out of there, the book's actually going to stick out a little bit in this case. So turn this on. I'm going to smash it down. And when it gets up to 165,
161. This might take a while.
It's okay. It's okay. It's going to get a longer soak time. As soon as it gets up to 165, we're going to turn the heat off and let it sit. And then we're going to let it sit till it gets back to pretty close to ambient temperature, because it can take a while just to fix this crease. And then we're going to repress the whole book. We're going to re-steam and then repress the whole book. So that, because right now this is going to make a flat part and a not flat part in this. And then we need to get the whole thing looking flat. But this is just going to fix this thing. So now it's up to 165.
165.
A little while. It's been. Normally we like to let this get back down to about ambient temperature. We're cutting it off a little early because we're on a short schedule, but the process is the same. You should know that this amount of pressing for like 1 hour to straighten the spine is not enough. It will relax and go back over the next few days to its normal curl if we don't do additional pressing for a longer amount of time. And see how this is hanging here? This is necessary to hold it in place after we bent the spine, but we're gonna do this again. So what we're gonna do now is take a look at it, see what it looks like without my hands on it. With my hands off, it is lined up. Everything looks good. The book should be a little out of wow because of the way it was pressed, and that's okay. And if you look at the back of this book, the back of our other book, they're much better, but you can see that there's some wrinkles in this. We're gonna press the whole book now. So much better. But what we're going to do now is we're going to keep it in this position and we're going to steam the book again. Now, the reason we steam it is it relaxes the paper, helps it get into position, and it prevents damage from heating, because heating is going to help, very slightly brown the pages over time, and the water takes the damage instead of the paper. And it also relaxes the paper and helps it get into new positions more quickly. So we're going to go ahead and do that.
Steamer.
Until the pages wrinkle. We're steaming it until the pages wrinkle.
Steamer is steaming it.
Yep. It sure is, buddy. It's hot. Hurts my thumb a little bit.
It's
A little bit of work there. Now if this has shiny pages inside, our dark pages, we'll put a little bit of Teflon in there. This one doesn't. If this has an ad where this page was shiny, we'd have to put some Teflon inside, but we don't for this book. And newer books, we definitely have to do that. So we're going to put this here flat. Then we're going to put a piece of Teflon on top of it.
Teflon.
This keeps the backing board from sticking to it, so it doesn't matter which side we put. We've actually polished the underside of our heater here, so it wouldn't really matter whether we use the backing board or not. It's just insurance to make sure there's no imperfections in the top of the laminate press that cause this problem. So we're going to go ahead and press it. Turn this on. And one thing I like to do, which I neglected to do this time, was I should start over just a little bit here. We are going to press the bottom, get this bottom plate hot. And so we're going to press that, and we're going to wait until the whole thing comes up to 165 degrees, meaning that the bottom and the top are getting hot before we put the book in, because we want the bottom to be hot too. We don't want the book to be hot just on the top, or it can create a little U shape, like a little imperfection. So we're gonna
165.
Okay, we got it, Nolan. So what are we gonna do now, pal? Do you remember what I told you? So now the bottom metal plate, this aluminum plate, is gonna be as hot as the top, right? So they're both gonna be warm. So now we're gonna put a Teflon sheet. We don't really need it on the bottom. It's just insurance. It's still keeping its shape. It's still a little bit wet from steaming, so that's fine.
Whoa.
We're gonna put it on here. We put the cover up, spine back, and it doesn't really matter which way, because now the top and bottom are equal temperature, which was what we want. We don't really need to put a piece of Teflon sheet in front because it's not a shiny ad page, but some of I'll there are some like Dungeons and Dragons ones and stuff from the 80s that really caused me problems. I'll just show an example of that. I'll put a sheet under there. I'll put a sheet on top. And I'll put a board here. And then we're going to press this again. We'll give it a little bit of a soak time. We just want the heat to get through the whole book. So typically I give it about 10 seconds. So once it gets back up to 165, I press start. You give it a 10-second soak at temperature. It gives it a chance to kind of come back to 165.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
Right.
0.
And now this one, because it was a spine roll that was in there for literally decades, we're going to have to let this sit for about 6 or 8 hours. Otherwise, it'll come back in a few days. The spine roll can kind of creep back into it if you just do this for an hour. We'll come back later, and then we'll bag and board it.
That kind of seems like a long time.
It is a long time.
But okay.
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 All right, thank you. So, all right, it's been 8 hours since we put this in here. It's cool. Let's check the temperature. It's now at 66 degrees, so it's pretty cool. We're gonna check it out. We're gonna take it out.
It's kind of cold
Look
in
at
here.
look at the comic book, and let's see what it looks like. So remove our stuff. There must be under here. There's the there it is. There's the backing board, and here's the book. We remove our Teflon sheet.
I don't know how good it looks.
Well, let's take a look at the back. So we're looking at how straight the back is. This one's very straight compared to what it used to look like, and it's very straight compared to this one. So we don't see the fanning that we used to have before.
Yay.
And so the book has a nice flat surface to it. The staples are now right exactly along the spine. It's squared up, so it's I would say it's improved. I mean, it has. We're going to clean it up. We'll do some cleaning, but this book is looks a lot nicer than it did yesterday. So it's comparable, but not as good as the other one here. So very good.
Yesterday? Don't you mean like a couple hours ago?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Just
sorry.
checking.
I apologize. Thank you.
It's fine. Okay.
All right. That's all. Thank you. Bye-bye.
That was short. Hi, my name is Nolan Morgan, and I would appreciate a shout out. So, I'm just here. My channel name, which is true, is Nolan Morgan with no spaces.
Okay, we'll see you online then, okay?
Eee.